So, you're snoozing soundly, dreaming of your favorite beaches or vacation destinations, when suddenly you're awoken by the not so delicate sounds of barks and whines by your side, probably accompanied by a wet nose or some gentle pawing by your pup, or some not so gentle pawing by your pup. If your dog has become a furry alarm clock, waking you up hours before your actual alarm goes off, not only are you likely sleep deprived, but you're probably wondering why your canine buddy does this. As with many seemingly puzzling canine behaviors, you may need to do a little detective work to figure out why your dog is waking you up. Dealing with an alarm clock dog is annoying, but fortunately, there are ways to redirect your dog's unwanted behaviors into more positive channels once you determine the reason behind the early wake-up calls. There are several reasons that your dog might want to get you up bright and early. Dogs may wake their owners up in the morning for a variety of reasons, including boredom, the need to relieve themselves, hunger, thirst, fear, and excitement, among others, says Kay Graham, dog trainer and AKC-approved Canine Good Citizen evaluator in Antelope, California. And how you respond will determine whether your dog keeps behaving like your furry alarm clock. Ultimately, our dogs do what works. So if their behavior of waking you up is reinforced by your getting up and meeting their need, they will repeat it, says Graham, and I will concur. So how do you deal with your dog's morning wake-up calls? When you're dealing with an insistent dog trying to get you up in the morning, it's best to ignore your pup in most cases. One thing to realize is that dogs will repeat what works, and if waking you up works, there is every reason to keep doing it. Many times, owners have to ignore attempts at being woken up until the habit is broken, recommends Graham. She also cautions that you must determine the reasons for the wake-up calls before you can start ignoring your dog. For example, if your dog wakes you up because they have to do their business outside because they can't hold it, that is the behavior you want to reinforce by letting them relieve themselves. However, if your dog wakes you up to go for a walk or to eat breakfast, it may be a less desirable behavior to reinforce, she says. So what are some ways to combat your dog's desire to wake you up? Because the reasons of your dog's early morning wake-up calls can vary, there are many ways you can prevent this behavior once it starts. In addition to ignoring your dog's non-urgent wake-ups, consider these options. Use an automatic feeder to take care of serving breakfast kibble to your pup, or free feed the dog during the night to stop doggy wake-up calls due to early morning hunger pangs. Take your dog out for a potty break just before bedtime, recommends dog trainer Nicole Ellis, CPDTKA of Altadena, California. Make sure your last potty break isn't too quick and leave enough time for your pet to empty their bladder, because some dogs like to go multiple times. Provide an indoor potty spot for your dog to use during the night to prevent bathroom requests in the morning, or give your dog access to a doggy door to eliminate in the yard without you. Ensure that your dog has a quiet sleeping area away from the windows where outside critters or noisy neighbors could disturb your pup's sleep. Give your pooch some toys to play with throughout the night, especially interactive puzzle toys that encourage dogs to hunt for bits of kibble to prevent wake-up calls due to boredom. Spend quality time with your dog during the day and allow your dog to sleep in or near your bedroom on a bed of their own. This way your dog won't feel neglected and want to wake you up to spend time with you. Crate your pup, says Ellis. Positive reinforcement crate training is a great way to prevent your face from being licked at 6 a.m. Of course, their crate should be a comfortable place they feel safe and happy in, she recommends. And I recommend crate training as well. So, does exercise help to stop your dog from waking you? One of the main reasons that dogs wake up their owners is because they're bored or lonely and excited for a walk with you. For pups filled with pent-up energy, more exercise is the solution. Providing sessions of walks and play can help meet your dog's needs for physical exercise and give their bodies the desire to relax, says Graham. To reduce your dog's desire for an early morning activity, keep morning walks brief and make afternoon and evening the time for more extensive training and exercises, advises Ellis. These sessions will tire out your dog and the canine buddy will want to sleep in the next morning. Don't forget that boredom is one of the top reasons for destructive behavior, and you don't want to be your pet's next idea, she cautions. How American Kennel Club activities can help keep dogs active. Graham advises that dogs need mental stimulation in addition to their physical exercise, and training classes and activities are some of the best ways for them to exercise their brains. Dogs love to learn and love the camaraderie of working together with their owners. In this vein, I wholeheartedly recommend participation in AKC-related programs and events, she says. Scent games are one of my favorite things to do to tire out a dog, says Alice. She also recommends AKC agility for the same reason. And I concur with both Graham and Ellis. These are great ideas to tire out your dog. Participating in sports like agility, scent work, and AKC rally events provides a positive outlet for your dog's excess energy and will get your pup tired enough to sleep through the night and into the morning. When should we speak to our veterinarian about morning wake-ups? Has your dog only recently started to wake you up early in the morning? Then visit your veterinarian to rule out a possible illness like a urinary tract infection or cognitive dysfunction in older dogs. Oftentimes, dogs will try to wake their owners up when they are feeling anxious or uncomfortable, and these can be signs of underlying health conditions. As always, have a veterinary check up any time your pet develops new or confusing behaviors, recommends Graham as well as myself. We're going to take a short break here and discuss how daylight saving time affects your dog.
Did you know that Alaska Dog Works trains service dogs for those in need throughout North America? Each and every service dog that is trained through the Lead Dog Service Dog Program and Michele Forto and her team has an individual training plan. We train for autistic, mobility, psychiatric, and PTSD for our soldiers for service work. If you know of someone that may need a service dog, please take a moment and check out Alaska Dog Works on social media and at alaskadogworks.com.
Twice a year, most Americans will experience the gain or loss of 1 hour sleep when their clocks fall back or skip ahead for daylight savings time. Many of us will adjust by sleeping in, drinking a second cup of coffee, and changing the time on our clocks and watches, plus complaining a lot. Although our dogs don't understand the time change, they will need to spring ahead with their humans and accommodate a new routine. How does this affect them? And how can we make it easier for our dogs to adjust? While dogs don't really have a good concept of time, we know our dogs are focused on the here and now. But do they also understand the concept of time? Most researchers who study dogs do not believe they grasp the concept, but they do perceive the passage of time and will definitely let you know when it's time for them to eat. Dogs, like many other animals, are attuned to a circadian rhythm that acts as an internal clock. The National Institute of General Medical Sciences explains that circadian rhythms are physical, mental, and behavioral changes that follow a 24-hour cycle. They affect most living beings, including our dogs, plants, and even microbes. Dogs respond to daylight and they wake when the sun rises and sleep when it's dark, says Dr. Jerry Klein, Chief Veterinary Officer for the AKC. Do they count down the hours to make sure they get 8 hours of sleep? Of course not. But their physical and behavioral processes are in sync with the sun. So when daylight savings time begins and you suddenly change the clock and decide to feed your dog and take him out on a new schedule, you can't expect him to make an immediate adjustment. And I'm pondering here, what happens to dogs that live in Alaska when we don't have as much sunlight as the rest of you do in the lower 48 or in more southern latitudes? So, dogs are creatures of habit. My dog is never happier than when following the same routine for getting up, walks, meals, and bedtime, day after day. Routine and consistency mean stability and confidence for our canine buddies. Setting up a reliable schedule for your pup as soon as you bring him home helps him understand what's expected of him as part of your family. Suddenly setting back or moving forward our clocks in the fall and spring can unsettle and confuse our dogs because from one day to the next, we've made a change in their routines. You might want your dog to get up 1 hour earlier and walk and eat on a new schedule. Some dogs may become anxious, have nervous stomachs, or have potty accidents in the house. Ease into this change. You can make the time change easier for your dog by easing him into the adjusted schedule. During the week prior to the time change, gradually shift your dog's schedule for eating, walking, and bedtime. This will make daylight savings time less stressful for you both. Don't worry, ease yourself and your canine buddy into the change. And remember, you get to do it all again, but in reverse. So what do you guys think? Did you learn anything new about your canine buddy? And before I end the show, let's press pause for a sec. Maybe ask yourself, why did this resonate with me? And what aspect of my relationship with my canine buddy could I apply this to? And what am I going to do differently this week to make my dog's training a little easier? So take time to mull it over, talk it out with a family member or trusted friend, put some ideas down in your training journal, and then check back next week for our next episode. And as always, I look forward to hearing your thoughts on this episode. So reach out over on Twitter at First Paw Media and let's spark a conversation. And I'd really like to know what you guys think about dogs that live in Alaska or in dark areas in the winter and the sun not exactly waking them up to be fed. Until then, keep going. You are doing great. It's time to create the relationship with your dog that you've always dreamed of. Thanks for listening to DogWorks Radio. Find the show notes for this episode and all others at alaskadogworks.com. And if you know someone in your life who needs help with their dog's training, be a hero and share our podcast with them. And we will see you next time.
From First Paw Media, this is DogWorks Radio. We hope you enjoyed this podcast, and we invite you to subscribe in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcasts. You'll find a link on the episode notes. You can tap or swipe on the episode cover art, and you'll see some offers from our sponsors. You can support our show by supporting them. If you like what you have heard, we would love it if you could give us a 5-star rating and tell your friends how to subscribe too. Your hosts are Robert and Michele Forto. Our producer is Robert Forto and created for First Paw Media.